This is an example of using the Kinect camera as an inspection camera. This is the Kinect off the latest Xbox. It uses contrast of color to make measurements. Basically, it counts how many pixels meet the threshold, and then it multiplies the pixel count by the pixel diameter, and then it gives you inches. So every line, colored line, measures. So, and this graph down here is showing what the line is measuring. There's a red line, it's a blue line, it's a yellow line, and a green line. Basically what it does is, if you look up here, there's the coordinates of the pixels and the RGB value. So anywhere you click, it returns the XY coordinates of that pixel and the RGB value. So here's black, and here's white. Gives the pixel coordinates and RGB value. Now you can move these lines up and down so you can measure different parts of this piece. And generally what this is this camera sits over a conveyor belt, and the items pass through the view of the camera. And the background, the conveyor belt is black, and the items passing in its view are light colored, similar to the white. They're white or light tan. So there's quite a difference, and it'll pick it up. This is the threshold. This sets the threshold of the colors that determine which ones are counted. So you can move the threshold up and down. So anything that's in the threshold will be counted and multiplied by the pixel diameter, which will give you the inches for each line. And then here's the blue line. Here's the green line. Here's the yellow line. And if you want to, you can select which value you're using. This the R value, the G value, or the B value. We'll stick with the R. We'll go back to the red. So what happens is, so this is fine, but what happens if the panels going underneath this camera are skewed? What we do is we check the angle. This is a 90-degree angle. That would be for this one. This would be considered 180 degrees. That's this one. These blue line, red line, blue line, X, Y are the coordinates of where the edges, this edge, intersects with the red and blue line. Same as down here. Here's the green line and the yellow line. This is the XY coordinates of where this edge intersects these lines. So as of right now, since we're at 90 degrees here and 180 degrees here, our measurements should be equal. This is the measurements taken by the lines, and this is the skew correction when it's correcting for the degrees, if it's skewed. So what we can do is, to say if we turn this, as you can see, this angle is now 198, and this angle is now 98 degrees. So it's doing skew correction. So here is what it's measuring. Here's what the lines are measuring, and here's what the correction is telling us what it is. So it takes the angle, takes the angle, uses the measurement as the hypotenuse, and then it multiplies it by the sine of the angle, and then you get the corrected inches. So if you notice, these are exactly how it was when we first started. It's reading 12 1/4, but we're actually a 12-inch piece of paper. Oh, by the way, the paper's like 12 inches, 12 by 8.5. So we can move it back the other way. Now, the angle is now 82 degrees right here. This angle is 164. If you notice, it's measuring 12.16 inches. With the skew correction, it's still 12 inches, 12 inches, 8.5, 8.5. So it compensates for the skew. And by the way, what it does is once it does the final compensation, it sends all this information to a PLC, and the PLC determines whether to reject or accept the panels going through its view. Now if we bring it back to 90, by the way, before we do that, you notice that like these bars are movable. You'll notice that no matter where I move them on the paper, the angle still stays the same. It's still like there's this one, 8.6, still 8.6, no matter where I move it. This angle is the same, no matter how far the lines are apart from each other. So let's move it back to 90. Now we're back. This sheet is back to a 90-degree angle. This is like 180. And you notice since we're squared up, our measurements are equal now. This is just an example of using the Kinect camera as an inspection camera. It's a very simple way to do it. So, thank you.